All right, this should be better. All right, this should be better. Talk to me, we back. I'm on my phone. I think he's loaded. Can y'all hear me in the chat? We had to iron out the kinks. Not sure what's going on today. Hey, can somebody hear me? Put it in the chat. We're trying to add him. It's saying add him. They're trying to stop our flow tonight. There you go.
Yo, yo,
What's good, big bro?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you
Finally
hear
went
me?
through. Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't see you right now, but I can hear you.
I barely can hear you. I don't know this. They don't want us to shine tonight.
Yeah. Can you hear me though?
Very low. The Facebook one I could see everything clear. I could see the chat, but there was no button to invite you. This one I could button to invite you, but I don't see anybody else on there able to tap in.
No, I can see comments.
Can you see comments?
I can see comments, yeah, but I can't see you. I see myself, I can hear you, and I can see everybody else's comments.
I can see you and I can hear you're low, but I can't see the comments. Let's see.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Facebook is on right now. I barely can hear you. Okay, so we got somebody in the chat. What's going on, chat? There we go. I got everybody in the chat. We just got to get my guys' levels up so I can hear them. You got headphones on?
Nah, can you hear me still?
Yeah, you low.
Yeah, I got my volume up. I don't know. I can see
Hey,
Antoine Moore checked in.
hey, can y'all hear
Pop
him
Flip.
loud? I can't hear him loud.
I
Okay.
also hear echoes. Like it's like after we talk, I hear everything after we say.
Oh, come on. Should we try to remove you and bring you back on? What you think? I'm scared to remove you because then it's going to tweet.
I know, right?
uh, they don't want us to shine, man. It's going to be a good conversation.
I know, right? Mad people here in the chat though.
Yeah, yeah.
Mad
The
people
chat is
here.
live. I see it going
I
crazy.
appreciate everybody checking in. If y'all can hear us.
You whispering to me though, man. I like real. Like I barely can hear you.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that because I can hear you loud and clear.
Let me see. Yeah, my
Derek
volume is.
Brown just said he can hear both of us.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah, yeah. I can hear you, boss.
All right, so you can hear me.
I
I
can hear
just can't see you.
you. Can't see me.
No,
Oh man. Okay. Let me see. Is that better?
no. I see myself clear. I see everybody in the chat, but the screen on my phone is split. So your part of it is just black.
I can see you and I can hear you now.
All
Clear,
right,
clearly. Uh,
okay.
and y'all both
I'm
can.
scared. I'm scared to hit anything because we might lose it.
I know. Go ahead. Go ahead. Check your levels. I just turned my volume up, and then it kind of kicked in. So if we can get this situated, then I think we good. Because definitely want you to be able to, see me, so we can have a, saying a better vibe during the conversation.
Yeah,
It's just a black box.
yeah. It's just a black box. And like I said, I hear like after you and I speak, I hear everything we're saying again, like it's echoing
You got a
or
feedback.
like it's replaying it.
It's a feedback. Oh man, I feel like if you remove yourself and then come back in, it's probably gonna be good. But I'm scared to do that.
Yeah, the only thing is, I mean, the only thing I could do is like cancel, leave the chat or cancel the retract chat. I can't do anything else.
Yeah, it says is your phone on KI? I don't know what that means.
Maurice Collier is saying he can hear both of us.
Yeah,
He
everybody.
also said it's my phone.
You
Thank you, Mr. Collier.
you got the Samsung or you got the iPhone.
I got a Samsung.
See, that's what's going on. See, you know they don't like to have the iPhone and the Samsung link up because I got I got the iPhone, so they're gonna make it difficult for us. That's what's going on.
Okay.
So you want to try to remove yourself and come back in? You want to do that?
I'll try it. I'll try it.
Let's do that. Let's do that. All right, team. We're trying to get it together. We are trying to get it together for y'all, for the whole audience and everybody. So hang with us. It's looking like They try not to let us shine. Who should put headphones on, me or Kyle? I get him good. Let me see if I can add him. All right. Okay. What we got?
Yeah, definitely, because it's the same thing.
Oh, come on. It's the Samsung. Uh,
Yeah, the only thing is that I can't see you,
it's that Samsung.
and I don't have a computer. I'm at work.
That computer was crazy. I tried to get on the laptop, and there's no buttons for the laptop. Maybe there's like a upgrade for Facebook that if I jump on the laptop, then that's what I was trying to do from the jump. All right, you want to just do it without it? Like we're on the phone call? What you thinking, big bro? You want to just do it right now, or you wanna reschedule it and get this thing situated? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You wanna continue, or you wanna restart and try to get this thing situated and reschedule it?
I mean, yeah, we could try to restart it one more time because
Okay.
I still only thing it's just replaying everything that we're saying.
Yeah,
Like I said before, I can see everybody in the chat. I just can't see you.
that's crazy. Because everybody says that they can see us and hear us clearly, and they ready to rock.
Yes. Sean Barnes said, "We see y'all. Let the show go on."
They ready for it. They ready to hear from the legend. They ready to hear from the legend. So everybody can see us both and hear us both. You can't see me, but you can hear me, and it got feedback. I don't know if we're gonna get any better than that right now, unless we do a whole Zoom and all that stuff. Well, Antoine, I hear you. I hear you. I don't know. It might be an iPhone to Samsung connection. That might be the case. You know, they be beefing with each other, so they don't never make it real easy for those people. Where to go? There you go. Let's add them.
Still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. So I still have the same problem. Like I can hear you. I see the chat. I just can't see you.
All right, so then we just treat it like it's a phone call then.
But yeah, that's fine with me.
Let's just do it. Let's just do it. We both here. We got people on here. Let's just really dive into it.
Let's go.
Let's go,
I'm
man.
ready.
Yeah, I know you've been ready. You stay ready. So let me just give a quick introduction, man. First of
Yeah, go
all,
ahead.
yep, I want to just welcome everybody to another episode of Tap In with Tristan. We got a Facebook Live Long Island Basketball History Edition, right? This is a special guest. I'm going to let him introduce himself, a quick introduction. Let's get your name. Let's get your high school that you went to and the year that you graduated.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is Kyle Ivey Jones, Hempstead legend, class of '90, and I'm here to help Tristan in the page. For people to know the page and let others who are part of the page and who have commented on all of the questions or ideas that Tristan and whoever else that's involved in the page commented on, this to give Long Island ballers a chance to shine and showcase themselves and talk about their experiences. And this is just the first task of it. So I'm ready. Let's do this.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. And like you said, man, it's not understated. You are a Long Island legend, man. And we're gonna kind of deep dive a little bit more into your career path and leading up to present day. So, I mean, we probably can go a lot of different directions
Mm-hmm.
at many parts to this. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think it's appropriate for us to dive in at the time when you put on that varsity uniform. What did that look like? What did that feel like? Bring us back to that time and tell us when that was.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously that was back in 1986 when I started high school as a freshman.
Okay.
Um, Before that, though, I mean, playing on the JV as an eighth grader,
Okay.
um, getting that experience, and then coming to the high school, my thought process was, all right, I played JV. I'll try for the varsity. If I don't make it, what's the worst that could happen? I'll be on JV again as a
Right.
freshman.
Right.
No big deal. Um, but when we had tryouts, and I'll never forget it, we had like 3 days of tryouts, and then there was a snow day.
Okay.
So that next day, when everybody's supposed to come to school, we were supposed to see our names on the list, but we had a snow day. So going into the second day now, after the snow day, we come to school. Mr. A, who wasn't a teacher at the high school, he was a teacher at one of the elementary schools. He never was able to get there to put the list up. So I was like, okay, I'm going anyway. I know we had practice, practice that evening at 6. I'm going anyway. So I went. All the guys who was on the team last year, the year before, coming back that season. And when he called out my name, I was highly surprised. Highly surprised when he called out my name. Um, and then, a couple of days of practices, like I'm on the white team, just out there, doing whatever, trying to learn. And then I would say probably like that fifth or sixth practice that we had, he was he called my name and put me on the blue team. Now the blue team is with the starters.
That's
And
the
I'm like, yo, did he just call my name and say go blue? So after that, it was a wrap. I was like, I know it's no turning back, no looking back. Whose ever minutes I'm taking, they took. You're not getting them back.
You're not getting it back, but there's no looking back.
No.
There's no looking back. So let me help paint the picture for some people that may not know. This is the time where Hempstead is really thriving. Is that fair to say? And not just
Yes.
basketball, but football,
Yes.
right? Right.
Many Rutgers Cups.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, we're winning Rutgers Cups. Name a couple of people that was involved in that time frame, maybe like right before you. Let's give some flowers to some people that before you that kind of paved the way because there was a tremendous run for the Hempstead Tigers in Nassau County and Long Island
Yep.
throughout the 80s. Am I correct?
Correct. Yep. Yep. Well, you got to start with a couple of football players who were outstanding on the football field and then came over to the basketball court. So that would be Warren Stith, who
Okay.
was the quarterback on the football team and also the point guard. Had George Alfred,
Okay.
who was the receiver on the football team and then came and was a forward. Had Rob Moore,
Yep.
who went on and played football at the University of Syracuse, played in the NFL for a few years. So, we had guys who played multiple sports, but then, they came on the basketball court and they contributed. And, I can't forget about Byron Prince. He kind of put me underneath his wing, It made sure that I understood everything that was going on. But I owe a lot to a lot of cats
Yep.
that came before me, wearing Hempstead Tiger uniform because as growing up as a kid, playing on the Salvation Army, or whatever the case may be, like whenever there was a game, I'm at the game because I'm like, one day I want to be out here. So I watched all those guys growing up as a kid.
Who were some of those guys that were before you? Let's give a couple flowers to some of those guys.
Uh,
Just name a couple. I know the list is
yeah, we got
so a couple. We talk about him here.
well, a couple should be on here. I know I see Collier, Maurice Collier, uh,
Salute.
my man Grant Dunbar, Noodle Dunbar. Um, as I said, Warren Stiff before I even got there.
Yep.
Um, Antoine Moore, who's also was a football player but was on the basketball team.
Yep.
Banging up against him every day in practice. Um, there's a lot of guys, man. There's so many names, and so many players, man. But there's a long-standing tradition,
Yes.
sport-wise, as far as Hempstead goes.
Absolutely, and that's another reason that we're excited about having this page be ongoing, is to celebrate all of those different names that you mentioned, and then some more from all throughout Long Island. So, was you aware? Obviously, you're now a freshman. Um, was you aware of the tradition, and was you kind of ready to play that part in carrying that on? Was there any
Yeah,
fear? What was the
Yeah,
thought?
most definitely. Because like I said, as a kid, whenever there was a home game, I was there, and if I could catch a ride with Don Ryan
Okay.
to one of the away games, I was there. Um, I had a good relationship with Mr. A before being a part of the program because I was going to the Salvation Army after school. He was, one of the directors at the Salvation Army, tutoring the kids, helping me with my homework and stuff like that. So, knew him. We practiced when I was on the Salvation Army. We practiced at the Sal sometimes, so he would be there watching the practices. Um, yeah, so it was like I definitely knew about the tradition. I definitely knew that having Hempstead go across your chest meant something.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Now, you mentioned the Salvation Army. For those who don't know, let people know because I've heard this a lot. I've heard this organization or this building or what have you. Please enlighten the rest of Long Island and the United States as to what that Salvation Army was and and what it helped to build in that area.
hmm Well, yeah, and it's ironic because Antoine Moore, just day one from Mason Street, because that's the street that we lived on, and I found out about the Salvation Army because of Antoine Moore.
Okay.
So long story short, one day I'm, outside the house, I'm dribbling the basketball, whatever. He comes out the house, and this is the first time I'm actually meeting Antoine. He had a younger brother, Jamal, that I was close with.
Okay.
So he saw me dribbling the basketball, and he walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, you should play for the Sal." And I'm like, "What's the Sal?" So he told me about the Salvation Army and the program, Don Ryan, and from there it took off because he got the information about the tryouts. I went to the tryouts, and then just going to the Salvation Army after school. And the Salvation Army, was basically a boys and girls club of Hempstead.
Okay. Okay.
Like I said, Mr. A, he was the director. Yeah, got to shout out my man Eric Kelly, who was his assistant. And they just had different programs going on and ran summer camps to help out the kids in the community. Um, it's at the end of Terrace Avenue. So everybody, if anybody knows Hempstead and they know about Terrace Avenue at that time, people, not to shed a negative light on Terrace, but everybody knows what Terrace was about. So at the end of Terrace Avenue, but it was a safe place. That's where the kids went. We had fun, did our homework, was able to play games. Mr. A brought some, people in to teach us different things about life. Um, So like, yeah, like I said, the Salvation Army was like the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA of Hempstead.
Beautiful. So it's kind of the safe haven for everybody to kind of blend and cut their teeth on different positive activities. And one
Yeah,
one of the mainstays was basketball.
yeah,
And we kind of see where this went. So
yeah.
there was a lot of success inside of this varsity window for you, sir.
Hmm.
Let's go ahead and walk us down memory lane. What was some of the not just the thought process, but what were some of the moments inside of this varsity career that you had? You had an illustrious career.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, like I said, I started as a freshman. Um, Never, only missed one game in my high school career due to my dad passing back when I was a senior. But I mean, once I got on the floor and it was able to be a starter, I had to bring it every day.
Yep.
And I had guys like Warren and Byron Prince pushing me. Um, still to this day, and it's funny because we played together on JV,
Okay.
and I'm talking about Larry Bell.
Okay.
Larry Bell, still to this day, every time he sees me, he's like, "Yo, Ki, I want my minutes back." So he was one of the guys
National.
minutes that I took. And like I said, still to this day, every time he sees me, as before he says what's up, whatever the case may be, yo, I want my minutes back.
Yeah,
Come
it's
on,
a
let's go play right now. I need my minutes back.
lifelong joke. Lifelong joke.
Yes.
These are the memories and the friendships that you build. Now, when you was going through your career, are you looking at, hey, I'm trying to accumulate stats, I'm trying to win, I'm trying to go to college, or a collection of all of them, or are you just out there just hooping? Because you have different mentalities for different people. What would you say yours was?
Yeah, freshman year, it was just try to, get along and prove that, I got this spot and I deserve to have it and I'm going to keep it. Freshman year, sophomore year, it was more, okay, I got to build on what I did last year. Um, Started to make a little name about myself, started to make a little splash. Um, and then junior and senior year, it was just gung ho. Okay, here's the goal. Um, we've already won Nassau County. We already got Long Island's. All right, now it's like now we get to the states and now we got to win it. So the junior and senior year, it was just all out winning everything to become state champion.
Right.
And along that with that process is when I started noticing college coaches, coming to the gym, phone calls being made, letters being sent. Uh, it was to the point where mom was like, "Can you tell these coaches to stop calling my house?" Like that's how many phone calls I was getting per day. So, but I was like, "Yo, mom, like this is a good thing. This is gonna help me." And then realistically, once she started to realize that, okay, he's when I watch the news and the sports come on, I see my son. When I get the paper and I look in the sports page, my son's name is in the paper. Um, that's when she started to realize that, okay, well, maybe he is doing something with this.
This is something special. Now, was this something that your family was accustomed to, or you kind of like one of the first ones to kind of be highly recruited and sought after for any sport?
Yeah, I'm realistically the first one to be highly recruited.
Right.
I mean, I do have other family members, and I'm not gonna, chide them. But yes, I do have some cousins that in other sports, baseball, wrestling, that was recruited. But
Right.
as far as being a high profile recruit and having all types of letters and things like that, yeah, I was the first one.
Well, that's all. I mean, yeah, because I mean, we're just being honest here. It's a
Hmm.
different level of communication from the coaches and the intensity. It's a lot different.
Hmm.
You know what I mean, from level to level. So you mentioned Terrace Ave, right? Like
Hmm.
Hempstead is not a walk in the park. It's a tough area. It's a tough
Hmm.
area, and like you said, Terrace Ave and all of the different neighboring areas to make up Hempstead. right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be built to kind of grow up in that type of environment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that helped shape you guys on the court and on the field,
Mm-hmm.
or while
Definitely
obviously
because
for basketball?
yes, definitely because um, you know, we had guys from all over Hempstead obviously coming to one school.
Yeah,
And then, when it was time for sports, whatever differences crews had or whatever, if you had a beef with somebody else, like it was either you wanted to play a sport or you wanted to take care of this beef that you had.
right.
And when you know, back then,
Yep.
Hempstead was divided. It was the hills, it was the heights, it was Midway, it was
Okay.
Terrace Ave, you
Okay.
know, um, and it just seems that like for most of us
Hmm.
during that time, sports is what brought us together. And, for that period of time, there was no animosity. It was one common goal, and that was to win.
So that's dope. So that kind of brought some of the different split offs of the community together, especially
Hmm.
guys that are on the same team living in different sections.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting when you look at that dynamic. So let's go into like let's talk about the situation of the overall program. Who's running this program? Who's the coach? Let's talk about the head of this organization. I mean, this program.
Mr. Adams, Mr. Ted
Okay,
Adams.
talk to me about him. Let's.
He's the orchestrator.
Okay,
He's the Capitan. Um, he's one of the best coaches that I've had. Um, he wasn't a yeller or a screamer, but he was firm.
okay,
He got his point across. He was a teacher. He taught us the right way to play basketball. He always told us, you know, you don't get caught up in the shenanigans on the court. Let your game do your talking. Um, he always taught us like don't ever let anybody outwork you. Um, and it was just like, yo, let's just go out here and do what we've been taught, what we've been working on in practice, and basically showcase ourselves and get a W. So he will always um, be forever embedded in my heart. He's still with us, and I talk to him periodically from here to here, time to time. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of great things for me as a kid, and even giving me great advice now as an adult, a coach, a dad. So
that's dope. That's dope. 'Cause, like I think what you said too is just even, or what I'm hearing and taking from that is the relationship that you get, right? The relationship that you build from having a coach and him being able to connect with each personality,
mhm,
especially in a town like Hempstead. Like you said,
mhm.
you got different influences outside of the court. So it's very important and very impactful when you have a certain personality to be able to orchestrate all of these different personalities for a,
Yeah,
for a common goal.
definitely, definitely. And I kind of compare him to if anybody out there who's definitely a basketball head. Chuck Daly, he was the coach of the Detroit Pistons, but when he was coaching the Dream Team with
Mhm.
Michael Jordan and Scotty and Patrick and Magic and all those guys, Chuck Daly, had all these high profile players who had different beliefs, when they were on different their own teams, and just able was to bring them together for one common cause. And that's how I look at Mr. A because, you know, like I said earlier, growing up in different parts of Hempstead, you know, different beliefs, raised differently, walks of life.
Yeah,
He was just able to keep us all together, and just get us to play basketball and win championships.
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you got the different personalities, different backgrounds for you to come together, especially when there's a lot of talent. I mean,
Hmm.
it's it's hard. It's easy when you have a lot of talent and the fact that you have the talent, but you have to factor in the personalities with the talent. And sometimes that's
Hmm.
easy to do. And I think Chuck Daly is a great example of that, being able to speak to the right element of each person to be able to get them and spark them into doing something positive. So that's really cool to hear.
Yep.
So let's go back inside. Name some of these opponents that we were playing, right? This was a this let's talk a little bit about some of the opponents that you guys played. Name some teams, name some
Yep.
names, talk some
Yep.
trash, right?
Yep.
And let's talk
Yep.
about this era, right?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do
Let's do
that.
it. Yeah. Many battles with Freeport. I
Okay.
think Freeport was the first school. That's how the battle started. Definitely with Eric Coates, who
Okay.
was a monster in his own right,
Salute.
and 7 footer they had Anthony Burwell. Um, I can remember. You know that was my freshman year in '86.
Okay.
Um, when it was Hempstead and Freeport, 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
And we looking in the paper to make sure, see if they won or if they lost, and I'm pretty sure they were doing the same thing for us. Um, but the battles, it's epic battles.
Yeah.
And then when we played in the playoffs, we all knew that it was a win or go home time. And I can remember as a freshman, um, where Andre Bigby, shout out Biggs, we're in the playoffs, and actually Freeport was winning the game.
Okay.
And I can remember like screaming, at my teammates when we were walking off the court for a timeout, and I was like, "Yo, I'm not going home, yo. We not losing this game. I'm not going home." And I remember Andre Bigby looking at me like, "What's he talking about? He not going home." Everybody else understood me, and no disrespect to Biggs, but I was like, "We not losing this game. I'm not going home."
Right.
And after that timeout, we just went out there. We took care of business. You know, Eric did his thing, I did mine, but it was a marquee matchup
Okay.
because me and Eric were the two up and coming stars at that time.
Right.
And then moving on to sophomore year, it was Long Beach with Charles Mann.
Charles Mann.
Charles Mann, just his last name, Mann, but that boy was a man child,
He was a man child.
and he know it. He know it.
Yes.
We know it. But yeah, it was a little bit different because Charles could take over a game and win a game by himself.
Okay.
I can remember, the second time that we played them, Mr. A was like, okay, look, we really got to focus on this kid. He's a very good rebounder, and if he gets anywhere close to the basket, he's gonna try to throw it down on you. And it was just like, okay, all right, let's go, Mr. A, what we gonna do? And it was go at him just as much as it was go at Eric Hoops.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then lastly, it was Oceanside with the Lyson brothers.
Okay. Let's
You
talk.
know, and they had the Lyson brothers, and then they had Jay Fiedler as their point guard, who everybody knows he was a NFL quarterback for the Eagles for a few years.
He was the
Um, yeah, so yeah, and it was basically going at them. Um, and this is the time where uh, this is the game at Oceanside where I became the all-time leading scorer. And I remember it was a big deal. LISN was there.
yeah.
My man Carl Reuter, who was calling the game.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And Joe Blocker was there, the guy, God rest his soul, who I beat over, took over. He was there. So I remember that game very vividly because the gym was packed. It was standing room only at that game.
Standing room only.
Um, so yeah, those are the battles. And then the Suffolk teams. We played North Babylon a couple of times with Jason Brower.
Yeah.
Played Bayshore. Got to give a shout out to Bobby Hobson and Bridgehampton. Like that Bridgehampton was the only team on Long Island that I lost to in 4 years. And it was a small school, but they pressed the hell out of us.
Hold on a second. Oh, we gotta hold on a second. Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
y'all was smoking teams, and then y'all was beating up on, and then the only team to beat
Yeah,
you guys was Bridgehampton.
yeah, Bridgehampton,
The Killer Bees.
Bridgehampton.
Did they?
With Killer Bees, yes,
Oh,
Killer Bees
would
with
you
Bobby Hobson.
would you say they surprised you guys a little bit?
Definitely
Yeah.
surprised.
Was
Definitely
y'all
surprised.
did
And
y'all
and it didn't help.
that?
And it didn't help that particular day that we had that long ass ride out there too, because we had to take a bus.
It's like driving to Vermont.
Yes, yes, because then we drove out there, then we had to get on the boat and be on the boat for another 20 minutes to get there. It was like, yo, it was crazy.
But you had to take a boat.
Yes, we had to take a boat. Yes, yes,
I
I
didn't
remember that.
know.
I remember that. I'm like, yo, we got to get on a boat to get to
A
this
boat.
place, man. Where's this place at?
Yeah, oh, that's too funny. And then the gym looked like a racquetball court.
Yes, yes, yep,
So
yep,
like, what is going on?
yes.
Y'all like
So
what?
yeah, Bridgehampton, yes, it was the Bobby Hobson. Yes, it was my only loss of a Long Island team on Long Island. Yes.
Oh, so they can talk their trash because I seen in the other days, man, I ain't lose to no Suffolk team, but that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, see, and Antoine was on that team, and he goes in that small gym.
that's that gym is tiny. It looks elite actually. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
like playing
Antoine's like, yeah, they beat us in that small CYO gym,
they did, man. That's a part of
beating that lion.
that's a part of that advantage, especially if you're taking the boat over there. That's a psychological.
Yo,
What's this?
yes, yes,
Yeah, y'all coming from
yep,
here and y'all got to get on a boat.
yes.
That's crazy. I didn't know that story. I didn't know that story.
Hmm.
So these are the different teams that was cooking in that era. Now, what would you say overall about your era, and then we'll move on, man? Would you say it was a strong era or it was a weak era? What's your
No,
thought? A long
it
out.
definitely was a strong era. Definitely was a strong era because just in Nassau alone, like I said, we had Freeport, we had Long Beach,
Yeah.
we had Oceanside, even Farmingdale was a formative opponent,
Okay.
to a certain extent. Um, we always had to worry about Massapequa, so to speak, because they kind of was like the Detroit Pistons. They wanted to play bully ball and use a whole bunch of football players to try to beat us up. And I never forget the 1 year that Syosset was in our conference,
Wow.
and then we went to Syosset, and we had to have a police escort to get inside the gym.
What's this about?
Just because the gym, their students were
Uh,
there before the game even started. Like the gym was like packed before the game even started.
they were looking forward to this.
Yeah, they were looking forward to it. Yeah, and the police was there waiting for us, and they escorted us in and escorted us out.
So you guys was
It was
rock.
the first time that for me as a player that I had ever needed a police escort to go into a gym.
How'd that feel, dude? Y'all guys was rock stars out there.
It was like, are we serious right now? It's like, and the crazy part is, you know, when you walk into the gym, like you had to walk between the bleachers. So they're like looking down at you, screaming at you.
Oh,
So it was crazy.
that's
It
an
was
environment.
crazy.
Did you turn up?
Of course we had to turn up. We're like, okay, yeah, all right. We see the psych job that y'all trying to do right now, but it's not gonna work.
Nah, it's gonna ignite even more. We about to turn up crazy. Oh man. So let's go back a little bit now. So we did get some state titles. Am I right?
Yes, I have two
We got two state titles.
back
Now,
to back.
what's that mean for you for the neighborhood, man? Because New York was a powerhouse, man. New York is a
Mm-hmm.
powerhouse. That's a strong era in that
Mm-hmm.
in the late '80s going into the early '90s, and you got
Mm-hmm.
two of those things. What did that
Hmm.
look for you to kind of cap off your high school career, and then what does it mean for Hempstead?
Um, it solidified us as being the premier program on Long Island during that time.
Yeah,
Um, it also solidified Mr. A as being one of the top coaches. And then it also, you know, rang loud in New York City
yeah,
because, at that time, and even still now to this day, you know, New York is the mecca of basketball, but it's New York City teams that get all the clout, all the notoriety.
yeah.
Um, and it just solidified that because one of the teams that we beat was New Rochelle, and if anybody knows anything about basketball in New Rochelle is a breeding ground for pro athletes. There's so many pro athletes that came out of New Rochelle. So, um, or New Rochelle or Mount Vernon. The school was Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon.
Um, yeah. Um, so yeah, it was just a satisfying feeling, a great feeling, not winning one but two.
Beautiful thing, man. We salute you, man, because like you said, you put a stamp on it for your own individual career,
Hmm.
for your neighborhood, for Hempstead, and then also for Long Island basketball. Like
Hmm.
you said, to be able to solidify that there is not only talent here, but we have the heart, the skill, and the ability to get wins over these top tier programs, not just in New York, but really a country, because you guys were ranked. Like Hempstead was a ranked program,
Hmm.
both football and basketball. Is that fair?
Hmm. Yep. That was
Right?
back in the day when USA Today was important.
You know, USA was they was putting that, so people was looking at that, and you see that big
Yeah.
spread with all of that, and you see that name. You know what I'm saying? That's a badge of honor, man. So salute to you guys. Let's talk a little bit briefly about this recruitment process, man. Who was it a whirlwind for you? Like, did anybody help you? Like, what was Mr. A help? Was this new for him, family? And then how do we narrow it down to get to where we got? And then tell us where you went to.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I don't know how much of an impact Mr. A had with the coaches or whatever.
Okay.
That's something that I didn't see. It was always, because for a certain period of time, like the coaches really couldn't talk to you. They could come look at you, but they couldn't talk to you.
At that
That was
time, when were
at
they
that
allowed?
time. Yeah,
When were they
there
allowed to
was
do?
a
What was the rules then?
Yeah, because they could recruit you, like send you letters or whatever, and have their assistant coaches call you. But the head coaches, could come to your game and watch you, but you couldn't have any contact with them at the time. That was just an NCAA rule. Um,
Was that at any time for you? Excuse me, or did you have to
mhm.
reach a certain grade, or that was just all the way through your career? You can only
Yeah,
deal.
no, that was all the way through my high school
Oh,
career.
you can only deal with the assistant.
Yeah, only dealt with the assistant.
Oh,
Um,
okay, that is different.
the only time I actually dealt with the head coaches is when they actually came on visits to my crib
Okay.
to actually sell me on the program and tell me whether or not, obviously tell me that they wanted me to come to the program, but how, um, how they were going to use me, and
Yeah.
I had to work for it, and convince my mom that it was good for me to go to their particular school. So
Right.
that's really the only time that I really had contact with head coaches,
So
when they actually came
name
to my house.
name some schools that was involved that you was heavily looking at that you was even trying to convince your mom with.
Well, the schools that actually came to my house, obviously URI, where I went to school with Al Skinner, who is a graduate of Malvern High School.
Yeah.
Um, and then I had University of Cincinnati. Bob Huggins at that time
Okay.
was at the University of Cincinnati. He came to my house. Um uh, ooh, trying to think. Oh, St. John's at the time.
Okay.
But I wasn't really interested in St. John's. I was happy that they wanted me to come, but I wanted to get away from New York.
Get out of there.
Yeah, I wanted to get out.
Not a
Um,
bad idea. Not a
no,
bad idea.
no, no. I was very happy that they were interested, but at that time I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've been here. I know everything around here. I need to get away.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're naming some heavy hitters and some heavy hitting coaches.
hmm
What made you pick the team that you picked? The school
Well,
that
I picked the University of Rhode Island because one, it was not too far from home. So my mom could still come check out my games, and my family could still come check out my games. Uh, Two, I had a black high school coach. I wanted a black college coach.
right.
Al Skinner was the coach. His assistant was also black. He also was Al Skinner's teammate at Malvern.
Wow.
Um, and then lastly was the players. Um, and I gotta give a shout out to my man Mike Brown, who was my host while I was on campus at URI. Uh, Mike Brown at the time, he was the heart and soul of the basketball team. Um, Very cool, calm cat, mild cat from Compton, California.
Okay.
Now you would think that he from Compton, he would be rah 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 type dude. Total opposite. Um, was very down to earth. Um, showed me the rigors of campus, and it was just like schooled me for the short period of time that I was there for my weekend visit.
Right.
So those three factors right there is what convinced me that URI was a spot for me. Um, and it also helped that at the time, I was looking to go into physical therapy.
Okay.
And this is a conversation that me and my mom had, prior to me making to a decision, because she was like, "Oh, you should look into physical therapy because you're an athlete. At least if you get hurt, you'll know what's going on with your injury."
Right.
And I was like, that's a good idea, mom. So at that time, URI's physical therapy program was like top 5 in the nation.
Okay.
So, I went there, um, dabbled a little bit with physical therapy, but because of the rigors of basketball, always traveling, it was tough. I was missing a lot of classes, even though I had tutors. It
Yeah.
was still tough missing a lot of those anatomy classes and strength core classes and things like that. So I had to switch to human development,
Right.
dealing with basically could be a social worker, things like that, or
Right.
what I'm doing now presently.
Right.
Um, so that's basically that's how that happened.
Perfect.
That's really how that happened.
Yeah. There's so many moving parts going through that high school, right, and then slide into this college. Do you feel like
hmm
you was prepared making that jump from high school to college? Because I know it was a whirlwind for me. I'm
hmm
class of '01, and
hmm
it's a quick jump. Do you feel like you was ready for that jump? And then how did it go for you at the University of Rhode Island? Let everybody know.
hmm Well, my freshman year, I sat out. I sat out because I was academically ineligible because of the SAT at the
SAT.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
back then you had to take the SAT and you had to pass the SAT.
You had to get
So I was
a certain score. Was this you had to get a certain score based on your GPA to kind of balance it
yeah
for
yeah
clearance?
you had to get a certain score. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, I was because of the SAT, I was academically ineligible, so I had to sit out my freshman year. So
Okay.
that hurt me because I couldn't even practice with the team.
You can't even practice.
Um, couldn't even practice.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I couldn't even practice. I was on scholarship
Yes.
at that time. I wasn't on full scholarship. I was on partial scholarship, but I couldn't even practice with the team. I could go to the games. I could sit on the bench like I was a part of the team, but I couldn't practice.
How'd that make you feel, dude? And what was you doing? Like, what was that? Because I mean, this is new. Like, you can't practice. Like, you've had that I guess you could say built-in schedule for most of
Yep,
your life. What was that like?
yep. Yeah, it was tough. Like I said, it was tough because I'm like, I'm here to play basketball. This is the reason why I'm here at the school.
Right.
Yes, I know I'm here to get my education, but the focus was me being recruited to come here to play basketball.
Right.
So it was an adjustment because it was really the first time in my life that I really couldn't play basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you feel like that that messed with you mentally? You feel like it made you a little bit stronger, or there was like almost like a depression, like dang man, they taking away my joy. And then how did you get?
Yeah, at first it was like, yeah, they taking away the one thing,
Yeah.
that keeps me sane.
Yeah.
You
Fact.
know, basketball has always been my safe haven.
Right.
Basketball, is my stress reliever.
Yes.
Um, so I was like, they taking the one thing that I know how to do very well, and now I got to figure out what my next move is.
Yes.
And basically, at that time, shout out to my brother Abdul Fox, because he transferred from St. Peter's
Okay.
to URI. So at that time, if you transferred, you had to sit out a year. So it
Yes.
was me and him just sitting out together, and we grew together.
Yes.
We went to the gym together. We went to breakfast, lunch, dinner together. Um, we played intramurals. Even though we were on scholarship, we were able to play intramurals.
Poking them dudes.
You know, yeah, exactly. So you know what that was like.
Flying these.
Um,
That's how you was trying to stay in shape.
yeah. So basically, that's how we, was able to stay in shape. Other than like I said to you, we were able to do everything else with the team except practice.
Wow.
Like pregame meals, we were able to go eat with the team. Pregame meals.
Wow.
You know, film sessions. We were able to go in the locker room and watch the film sessions.
Wow.
Like that the only thing that we could not do was practice. Home games, we sitting on the bench. We right there.
Wow.
So yeah, so that freshman year it was tough.
That was tough. That was tough. So it's character builder. Character builder. Like,
Yes.
like there's no pause button in life, right? So
Right.
and now this has you really have to tap into that Hempstead tough mentality, because this is something that's even outside of your element that you're dealing with, right? And it's really on you to be able to deal.
Right.
So how do we get through that, and then what happened on the other side of that freshman year?
Okay. So uh before I get into that real quick,
Mm-hmm.
I need you to understand that, going to University of Rhode Island,
Yep.
predominantly white school,
Okay.
you know, 3.5 hours away from home. Me being a New York kid,
Yep.
I'm used to everything being accessible.
Yes.
I.e., stores,
Yeah.
right, walk to the corner, you got your corner store.
Yes.
Your fast food joints are not too far.
Yes.
You know, so I get up to Rhode Island, and it's like you got to go to the gas station to go to the store.
It was a culture shock for you. Is that fair?
It definitely was a culture shock. It was a culture shock.
So,
Yes.
so, so you're sitting out, dude, and you got this culture shock thing right now. You're like, what is going on here? This is not
Yeah.
what I anticipated, huh?
Just not what I anticipated. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go away to school, to see what else was out there. I mean, I've always traveled with basketball, obviously with the Salvation Army, going to different states and playing in different tournaments. But
Right.
now it's like I'm here for the next 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the next phase of my life.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it definitely was a culture shock. Not and no disrespect to the school, because I had some great moments. I had some fantastic moments.
Yeah.
I had some life building moments.
Yeah.
At the University of Rhode Island. Made some great friends.
Yep.
You know, people that I keep in contact with till this day.
Yep.
Even some professors. So but yeah, that first year it was definitely a big time adjustment.
Big time adjustment. I think that comes
Mhm.
with we're all with all of us. There's some type of adjustment that you can't really fully prepare for until you're in it.
Right.
And it does allow you to have this sink or swim situation that brings forth and builds character. And this is the
Hmm.
reason, and I've had conversations with other people, and maybe you can attest to this, just watching sports in general, especially basketball, knowing that each person has their own story and a backstory behind it. We a lot of times don't know exactly what's going on with that individual,
Hmm.
see them playing well or not playing well. So
Hmm.
there's some empathy that I have to at least try to get a little bit more insight of their backstory before you start just talking crazy, because
Right.
there's a human element to sports that gets overlooked. You know what I mean, by the casual fan.
Hmm.
So yeah, you going from a young man, you know what I mean, from somebody in high school to a young man dealing with all of this, right? Not
Hmm.
everybody is mentally strong enough to go through that. So salute to you, man.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for real. It shows the mentality that you had to even just get through that. Because most people might even just pack up and say, I'm out of here.
Right.
People have done that.
Right. People have done that. Exactly.
That from our own neighborhoods. Like, man, I'm just saying
Exactly.
what we do.
Exactly. We've had at Hempstead, we had so many guys that transferred schools because they couldn't get playing time with us, and they transferred to different schools and they became the man over there.
Okay.
But it was just like, yeah, well, sorry you couldn't make it here, but if we match up against you, we're gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, we gotta cook you out there and smoke you real quick. So so sliding into to finishing up with the URI, was there any professional basketball, right? Because only so many games inside of our career. We don't really
Right.
know what it is, and we don't fully know where it's going to take us.
Right.
Where does basketball take you? You know what I mean? Finishing up on the end of the Rhode Island situation, school and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, making the appearances in the NIT tournament and in the NCAA tournament
Yeah.
helped me out a lot. And then I was able to get an invite to New York Knicks camp in '94. And then after that, I played 10 years professionally overseas.
Let's talk really quickly about the overseas. What's some of the countries that you played in, man, and what's some of the life lessons that we got in there, the experience from that? Because it's not an easy thing over there,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You'll fill us in. It's not an easy
Hmm.
making a career path over there. It's a like you said, culture shock. This culture shock
Hmm.
with it. How did you deal with that, man, and what was the results?
Yeah, it was definitely culture shock. Each country that I played in, it was basically a stepping stone, a step up from the last country.
Yep.
It gave me a chance to again travel, see how people live in different countries, learn their ways, sample different foods.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience. I got to travel,
Yep.
doing what I love to do most, and that's play basketball. So the countries that I played in order, I'm going to try to keep it that way.
Okay.
Very first country was Honduras,
Okay.
third world country. Um, the only reason why I was able to have electricity in my apartment is because the hospital was on my street. So after when it got dark, there was no electricity. Like there's no street lights. People didn't have electricity at the houses.
Wow.
It's like, you know, people, if you walking at night, people had flashlights so that cars wouldn't hit them.
Wow.
During the day, I could see in the mountains and people living in huts in
Wow.
the mountains.
Yep.
So it was crazy. So
Yes.
yeah, third world country in Honduras. Then after that, it was Ireland, England, New Zealand, Portugal,
Yep.
and Italy.
Yep. So yeah, that is a stair step. It's a culture shock, and I think there's a level of humility that goes with it. Like even on some of
Hmm.
our worst days in America, right? some,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you'll see how some of those like that electricity, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something we like. That's almost an automatic thing, regardless of the social class that you're in. When you go to
Mm-hmm.
countries, I can attest to that. I was in Uruguay for a while, and I seen driving to a game. I seen some families that were living in the city dump, like
Mm-hmm.
that bad, and the city was knocking it down because they like we can't
Mm-hmm.
tax you. So it's like it's some stuff out there, man, that stays with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of shapes you on and off.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I can attest to that right there. But like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
to travel the world and see things through the game of basketball.
Yes. Yes. So basketball has been extremely, extremely, extremely good to me.
Yep.
And, you know, there's a lot of people along the way that I am extremely thankful for that helped me out. And I will, you know, forever be indebted to the many people here in Hempstead who helped me along the way. You know, there's, you know, I always tell people I owe Hempstead a lot.
Yep.
Um, Hempstead, you know, is very dear to me,
Absolutely.
and I'll represent Hempstead to the day I die.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, like you're one of the pillars in the community and a flag for the flagship sport. You know what I mean? The couple with football, for you to be able to do what you did and do it with class was amazing, right? Before we get out of here, we're gonna do a little rapid fire type action when it comes to
Go
some
ahead.
the Hempstead stuff. Let's go back to high school. What would you say your
Mhm.
toughest loss was?
The toughest loss,
Yeah, toughest loss, or the one that sit with you the most.
the ones that sit with me the
Just give me
most.
one. Just give me one.
Woo!
Stop.
There's two.
Give me two.
There's two.
Give me
There's
two.
two.
Yeah.
So one was obviously Bridgehampton.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Yeah. You're like, what is?
Um,
I don't even know what to make of this.
yeah, it was just it was yeah, it was just.
What
Woo.
year was that? What year was that, Kyle?
I want to say that was
What grade was you in?
probably my sophomore year,
Sophomore year. Okay.
80s, 80s, 87.
Yeah. What side? We'll research that one. We're gonna have to try to find.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. And the second one was Federation. After you win the states, you
Yes.
go back to Glens Falls and you play against the teams from the city. So we
Okay.
played
Definitely.
uh, Grady High School, and they had my man Ephraim Whitehead, one of my brothers, AAU brothers. Yeah, played against Grady High School. James Hector was another guy they had, another beast. Yeah, and you know, very classic game, but you know, they got us for the Federation, and you know, Federation, that would be the overall New York City champion.
Right. Right. What was it? Sean White said Christ the King. What's that? Was he?
Christ the King, yeah, Christ the King was my junior year.
Oh, that's
Grady was my senior year.
what Khalid Reeves. Am I right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, 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 yes.
Ah, these are tough teams, dude.
Yeah, these are very tough teams.
These are tough teams.
These are
Like
very tough teams.
you're gonna have to really tie your laces up to beat Hempstead at that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you
Yeah.
know, and one thing that people uh didn't know or don't know is that, you know, like in the summer times, you know, we barely played in summer leagues out here in Long Island.
Okay.
So in the summer, Mr. A and Don Ryan used to take us to the city.
Okay.
So we used to play like at the Super 8 at Queens College, you know, where we played, you know, all the city players,
Yep.
you know, like we played against, you know, God rest his soul. We played against Conrad McCrae, played
Yep.
against Kenny Anderson, played against Derek Phelps, Brian Reese, Adrian Autry, you know, Jamal Mashburn when he was, even though he was big at Kentucky, he was even bigger in high school, and then he trimmed down. You know, they call him Baby Mash back then.
Baby man.
So yeah, so playing against, you know, high caliber players back then in the summertime, you know, Abel was able to help us and be like, look, we're hanging tough and beating some of these teams, you know, in the city,
Yeah.
you know, it only fueled our fire for when we actually played here on Long Island.
Absolutely. So that's something that we can deep dive into for another topic is
Yes.
having that experience of playing the city guys more often because they play against themselves a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of like the iron sharpening iron type of
Mm-hmm.
situation. Like, hey, this is familiar to me, as opposed to being a shock to the system when you play against that aggressiveness, that talent, and all of those things that come with playing some of those city teams. So you guys was able to do that in the summertime. Not a lot of Long Island teams was able to do that. Now,
Right.
let me ask you, at that time, was there anybody training you guys, or you guys were just pretty much out the mud playing, you know what I mean? Just playing the OGs out there.
Nah, there was no trainers back
No
then.
trainers.
No trainers back then. What we did though, Mr. A was like during the summertime, he was able to open up the gym. Like 2 days out of the week or whatever, one
Yeah,
or 2 days out of the week,
yeah.
we would go to the gym and we would do drills.
Okay.
He would have us do drills for like the first hour and 10 minutes. We
Uh,
do all type of different drills, shooting drills, ball handling drills, whatever the case may be. And then for the rest of the time, he would let us scrimmage.
just let y'all go.
So it was just, once we did the drills to get through the drills so that we could scrimmage and go at each other
Y'all
because
clock
it
watching,
was it was
clock watching the
it
drill.
was
Like, all right, blow the whistle.
yeah.
Hey, so we can
Yeah,
get.
because it was us talking crap to each other the entire time. And we're like, okay, once we get done with the drills, we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? So it was always a competition, like I said. Guys were trying to get minutes.
Facts. That guys are trying to
You
get
know,
build up their reputation and the opportunity to
right,
play at the next level. So,
right,
but there's going to be multiple conversations to be had. This one right
definitely.
here, this question that I'm going to ask you. Well, first I'm going to ask you this question, which I'm really interested to hear, and then I'm going to ask you a closeout question.
Hmm.
Um, who would be your top? Who would be your Hempstead all-time starting five?
Ooh, that is tough.
You got a
That's
lot of
tough.
names to pick from right
That's
here.
that's, that's
It's not
tough,
gonna be all
man.
love for
That
everybody,
that's
right?
tough.
You have a lot
Yeah, man.
to pick from through the eras. I want to see what Kyle Ivey Jones has to say about his Hempstead all-time starting five.
Wow, that's tough, man. You put me on the spot here.
This is going to be
uh,
something that everybody, listen, everybody that sees this and it
yeah.
brings out, this is going to be a question. Who is your school's top? Give me your all-time five that you'll put up against anybody. Now, you probably can make 10 different combinations, 20 different combinations, but I need the one from you that rings out the most for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh-wee. Trying to think of names now.
Yes, come on.
Hmm. Well, I'm gonna have to. Sheesh. Each position is a 1A and a 1B.
Yeah, maybe
Jeez.
see.
Ah,
Your program
well,
is loaded like that, so you
yeah,
have
I know, right?
to
I
get
know
be
it was.
versatile
It's tough.
this.
It's tough. It's tough. But I'm the majority of my five is gonna be my guys, but I'm gonna have to go at center. I'm gonna have to go with Rob Moore. Even though he was a football player on the basketball court, he was a great rebounder. Always found himself being in the right spot at the right time for an offensive rebound, put back, tap in. Um, yeah, you ran the floor well. Um, yeah, so at center, I'm gonna have to go with Rob Moore.
Okay, that's one.
Yeah,
4 players to go.
4 players to go. At my power forward, I'm gonna have to go with my man Damian Brown, my man Boogie Down. Um, long, linky kid, 6'7", long arms, very good shooter.
Very good shooter. Will meet you at the rim.
Okay.
Um,
And what year?
didn't back down.
What year is he from? Just real quick. What time frame? He's from the '80s too.
Damien was ahead of me, so he was a year ahead of me.
Okay.
So he was a sophomore when I was a freshman. Obviously, I was a junior when he was a senior.
Okay. So he's
Uh,
89, class of '89. All right, let's go.
yeah.
We
So
need.
we'll go with him.
Yeah, we need that
Um,
3 more.
uh, at the three, I'm gonna have to go with my man B Prince,
Okay.
who took me under his shoulder, under his wing. B Prince was a deadly shooter, mid range. His mid range game was unstoppable.
Deadly.
Was able to use his shoulders at that time to get to his spot and rise up above everybody and knock down his shot. Um,
Backcourt.
wasn't a fancy guy, but got the job done.
Got the job done at a high level. We need
Got
to.
the job done.
Who's this backcourt?
In the backcourt,
Ah,
yeah. Whew. Whew. Backcourt, I'm definitely going with my man, one of the twins, Lamont Hugh.
ooh, okay. We got one spot left.
That's my guy.
Lamont Hughes.
That's my guy, Lamont Hugh. Been through many battles with him.
He's a dog.
He's definitely a dog. I mean, I seen the guy match up with the best of the best and come out on top.
Got you.
Come out on top. And then lastly, I'm gonna have to go with Warren Stiff because I've never seen a player with his work ethic.
Okay.
Like Warren knew he wasn't a basketball player, but his work ethic is what got him over the top. I have yet, he's even as a grown man now, and me playing, I've never seen anybody work as hard as Warren did back then. Definitely a big man's point guard. Like could knock down an open jump shot if he had to, but most definitely wanted to pass and get everybody else involved.
Get everybody else involved.
Yeah.
All right. So this is gonna ring out. This is gonna ring out.
Yeah.
So you don't mind talking your trash. So we're gonna have to put these names in the chat for this Hempstead all-time starting five. You locking that in?
I'm locking that in. That's my five.
That's your five. You feel
That's my
good.
five.
We can go anywhere in the country and we lining up with that.
Yes, I'm lining up with that. Yes, I'm lining up with that five. Yes.
The man has spoken.
Yes.
He has spoken.
Yes.
Big names right there, man. Big time competitors and big time winners right
And I'm looking at the chats.
You see it already in the chat.
Bobby Brown said, "No Gator."
Really?
Gator was tough. Gator was tough. B.
Yeah.
He was tough.
Tutu, Ferg,
Love him to death.
Sean White. We left off some heavy hitters.
Yeah, Pop Smith was like, "No E Ferg." He was after me.
Yes.
he was at Pop. E Ferg was after me. Way after me. I think I was playing overseas when he was playing.
He was playing overseas, and he was doing this so that the tradition carried on while you were still overseas.
Yes, but I've heard the stories.
Cooking.
I've heard the stories about E Ferg. I've heard the stories.
That's my era. So yes, I can attest to that. So to wrap this up, man, what would you say that Hempstead's culture is? What's the culture for Hempstead, for the program of Hempstead? And we'll put a bow on this thing.
The culture is definitely hard work.
Okay.
It's definitely hard work.
Okay.
Like we not giving you nothing.
Not giving anything.
Yeah, I'm not giving you nothing. Like I don't care that growing up you were a 30-point scorer. At the middle school level. I don't care about that. You got to come in here. You got to work.
We got to work.
You got to work, and working hard produces wins. Wins produces culture and respect. Yeah. And people now looking at the program like, Yeah, we got to make sure we prepare for Hempstead.
Yep.
We can't take them lightly.
Yep.
So yeah, so you gotta work. It's the work ethic.
The work
It's the
ethic.
work ethic. It's the work ethic. And it's always been that way because we've had so much talent.
Yes.
Like when you wanted to get on the floor, you had to work. You had to show Mr. A that, all right, Mr. A, I understand what you're saying. I'm doing what you're teaching me, but now I'm going to produce.
Yep.
And it didn't have to be you had to score, rebound, steals, cause havoc. That's work. That's the work ethic. And that's for me to be a Hempstead ball player and be proud to have Hempstead across your chest and bleed blue, you
Yep.
got to work.
You gotta be a dog out there.
Yeah.
Team
And
for.
and and Deshaun Moore is saying facts. So you
I
realize it.
listen, man. I played against you guys my whole high school career, right? So I know, I know, I know. It's a team full of dogs. Like you're gonna have to earn a victory when you play
Yes.
the Tigers,
Yes.
and you guys did that for many, many, many years, decades actually. So, what would you say is are that have shaped you to today? What are the things through the game of basketball that have given you the character to be who you are today?
Definitely the coaching. Um, Don Ryan, Ted Adams, Cleve Winfield, Eric Kelly, Al Skinner. Um, Definitely the coaching. Um, God rest his soul, my dad who put the ball in my crib, who
Yep,
started me out dribbling in the backyard.
yep,
Um, just being able to, for me, being able to take one or two things away from each coach that taught me something, you
yep,
know, and the experience of playing, you know, I've been fortunate.
yep.
I'm not the type of player who likes to brag, but the proof is in the pudding. Growing up, I never sat the bench. I was always on the court. And that's a testament to me being a student of the game. I wasn't the most versatile kid growing up.
Right,
Believe me, I was a long, gangly, skinny kid.
right,
And I couldn't understand how I got to be able to start as a freshman as a long, gangly, skinny kid, probably weighing 125 pounds soaking wet,
right.
But because I listened to my coaches along the way, I had a foundation. And, for me, all good coaches like players who have a foundation. And the foundation is the basics.
Yep.
Good coaches don't care about flashy shit. It's the basics.
They're looking for an outcome. They're looking for a certain result.
Right. And if you have the basics and you have the work ethic, you're going to get that outcome.
Now, is that something that you tie into? Because if I'm not mistaken, you're coaching. Am I right?
Right. Yes. I'm the JV coach at Hempstead and I assist with the varsity.
Wait, so we're back home, dude. We
Yeah.
we
We're back home.
we are back
We're
home.
back home.
That's
We're back home. Yes.
that's a
I've been
huge.
back home. I've been back home close to 5 years now.
Say that one more time.
I said I've been back home close to 5 years now.
Yes. So what's that feeling like, man? Hold on, we got to end that on that note, man. We could pretty much have a statue of you in front of the school with right? We could have
We
some kind
good.
of
We good.
monument
We good.
with you in there and maybe a couple other guys. But now you're coming back to be a mentor, what I mean, to the same people that walked the halls that you did.
Right.
Thought process behind that, and what's some of the things that you're trying to pour into them?
Well, basically, long story short, real quick, I did 31 years in Rhode Island. 31 years. School, family, um, coaching up there, being involved in the communities up there, getting my kids started in things up there. Um, and it was just, time for me to come back home.
Yep.
and, was ready to get out of Rhode Island. I love Rhode Island to death. Like I said, at school, in the area where I live, made some great friends over the many years that I was there.
Yep.
When I came home, had an opportunity to come back home, you know, get a good job. And then the opportunity came about that the JV coaching spot was open.
Yep.
So I applied for it. Um, I was lucky enough to have some people in my corner,
Yep.
that gave me the nod.
Yep.
And, the focus was, okay, now I'm back in my community. All the things that I've learned over the years, let me get back to my community. And as I said to you earlier, I'm forever, indebted to Hempstead. So this is my way of giving back and repaying and, trying to get these kids here in Hempstead to understand that there's a certain way you got to go about it. We do have some kids here now who are very talented,
Right.
who can make it out of here and do something of themselves.
Right.
But my job is to show them the steps
Right.
on how to achieve certain things, so your path is a lot easier.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think that's what it's all about too, is being able to kind of pay it forward
Yeah.
through life. So I want to take this time to just personally just celebrate you. Like I've always heard your name. You know what I mean? It rings out not just in Hempstead but throughout Long Island. Right? When Hempstead basketball is talked about, your name is
Hmm.
always the first to come up there. Right? I think you
Hmm.
understand that. But you have the receipts and the resume to be able to sit back and let other people honor you, right? So
Yeah.
this is another reason why this platform was important for me to start and have everybody be a part of and honoring other men. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
we go through a whole lot of stuff as men, and we just got to keep on keeping on. But just to just salute you on what you did with your basketball career to shape you as a young man into, you know what I mean, a grown man. And
Hmm.
hearing you paying it back is a beautiful thing. And I want to celebrate you and give you your flowers for you not only being a great basketball player, but just from all the different conversations that I've heard, that I've had with other people, the character,
Hmm.
the character that you did it with. So salute to you, boss.
Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Yes.
I appreciate you for starting the page. Um, you know, other people telling me like, about the page, like, yo, you got to get on this page, man. People, it's a great thing. And I'm like, I go on, like, see what's going on. So I salute you for starting the page
Yeah.
and getting the ball rolling for guys like myself and everybody else who tunes in and
Yeah.
chimes in on the page to, talk about themselves or talk about their moments, whatever the case may be. And this is why I hit you up to ask you if you ever thought about it. So I'm extremely honored to be the first guy
Yep.
to have this type of conversation.
Yep.
You know, I'm pretty sure there's going to be many more. And this is one of the things that I'm glad I'm able to help with because as I said before, Long Island has a outstanding tradition of great basketball players.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we get overshadowed by the city ball players,
Yes.
and that's not to knock them because some of them are, my good friends, some of them are my AAU buddies. But, Long Island
Yep.
has a platform too.
Yep.
And I think this is going to be a good segue transition to get people to notice that.
Absolutely. So we wanted to create a community, a family atmosphere, be able to build with one another, give flowers, talk trash, reminisce, celebrate,
Definitely.
and educate so we can learn about different eras, right? So that's
Definitely.
something that's important. What's going on current day, what happened years ago, but it shapes us and it's more than basketball, right? It's more than
Right.
basketball, but it's an opportunity to bring us to a spot, right? A centralized location and speak about our experiences. And then we have the ability to network with different things current day. So I'm looking forward to seeing the page grow. So anybody that's out there, please invite some people, right? It's a free platform. Invite some people, right?
Definitely.
Feel free to share any type of information that you have that's going to be uplifting or create a nice debate, nice healthy debate. I just feel like it just keeps everything fresh and it gives everybody the ability to have spread some love daily.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Agreed. Totally agreed.
Yeah, man. So like you said, man, thank you for even having a conversation with me offline to be the first. Because like you said,
Yeah.
it's the first of many. I did do a tap in. We're gonna upload this and put this on my YouTube page. We'll create a section for it. And the more that we get it, the more fresh ideas that we have. There's a lot of flexibility for us to have many different types of conversations with people
Yes.
throughout the era. So you kind of kicked the door in, man, and I'm thankful that you reached out to me. And I think you're a
Yeah.
perfect person to do it, man. With how big your name rings out, man. You was on the all-decade team for the Newsday, so congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
well,
That was a surprise. That was a total surprise for
that
me.
was a total surprise.
Yeah. Total surprise. I didn't know anything about it
I
until
didn't either. I didn't either.
one of the coaches hit me up and was like, "Yo, do you know you was in the paper?" I'm like, "Nah, for what?" He was like, "Yo, you made the all decade team." I'm like, "What?"
What's that
And then
even?
he sent me the article. Like I honestly didn't know anything about it.
No, it was dope because I think that it was actually one of the things that spearheaded me starting the channel because they left me off of it. They didn't put me on it. So people was talking. They was like, hold on, why was you on it? And this gentleman was on it. So it started some trash talk on Facebook. So
Okay.
I'm like, man, we got all of these separate conversations, man. We need something where everybody can just talk their trash and share their thing. So it was filling the void. It was something that was
Right.
long overdue. And I'm honored to do it, and I'm honored to share the platform with guys like you, man. So thank
Good.
you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yup.
Lastly, I just want to say thank you to everybody out there tuning in. You
Yes.
know, family, friends, opponents. Thank you. Like keep tuning in. I'm
Yep.
pretty sure Tristan and whoever else will get at you, give
Oh,
you the same opportunity that I had. But yeah, let's keep this thing rolling. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you to all my peeps from Hempstead that tuned in. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Um, some of my peoples from Rhode Island. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love you guys too. So yeah, this is a great thing. So I look forward to keep the dialogue going on with you, Tristan,
yep.
and keep doing your thing, brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We're gonna stay in contact. We'll keep building and keep bringing some fresh ideas to the page to be able to help one another out and celebrate as many people along the way.
Yes.
Much love, boss, man. I appreciate you.
All right, baby. Take care.
All right, chill.
Later.